Hello people. Today on the RDENG YouTube channel, we are playing Portal the First Slice, which is the demo because I am a cheapskate who can't afford the full game. Well, no, I'm not getting any full games until I have got my new laptop, which is costing me 1,300 quid, roughly, if I get that one, which is probably the one I'll get because it's mid-range, and mid-range is normally okay. So, with that being said, let's continue. Start game. I have run through this before to see what it's like, so I do know what's happening, roughly. I'm sorry, okay? Well, I did try, but I was struggling with all the recording, so yeah, let's get into it. That music's annoying. That's it.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer Aided Enrichment Center. We hope your brief detention in the relaxation vault has been a pleasant one. Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper. Before we start, however, keep in mind that although fun and learning are the primary goals of all Enrichment Center activities, serious injuries may occur. For your own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from stand back. The portal will open in 3, 2, 1.
I want to take the radio with me. My radio! Our little cheeky Mexican radio. So cool. Watch. Look where I move. Bitch is following me, I don't like it. Well, come on, radio, let's go. Radio being. No, my radio don't wait. Actually, let me take my radio with me. So it'll be good. I like my radio. It plays interesting stuff.
Excellent. Please proceed into the chamber lock after completing each test. First, however, note the incandescent particle field across the exit. This Aperture Science Material Emancipation Grid will vaporize any unauthorized equipment that passes through it. For instance, the Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube.
I'm generally upset I've lost my radio. It's taking everywhere with me. Look, it's messing with my boy. Next test.
Please place the weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt Aperture Science Heavy Duty Super Colliding Super Button.
That's a, what the fuck? That's a big ass thingy machine. Oh, what? Oh, but I want to be flying here anyway. Oh well. There we go.
Perfect. Please move quickly to the chamber lock, as the effects of prolonged exposure to the button are not part of this test.
Maybe I don't want to quick. Ah! What the fuck? There we go. Now that's just rude. Everything about you is fucking rude, baby. Hey, hey, up we rise now. Hey, up we rise now. Hey, up we rise now. In the morning. Whoa. Okay, that way.
You're doing very well. Please be advised that a noticeable taste of blood is not part of any test protocol, but is an unintended side effect of the Aperture Science Material Emancipation Grip, which may, in semi-rare cases, emancipate dental fillings, crowns, tooth enamel, and teeth.
Doesn't sound dangerous at all. What bitch? I need to be there.
Very good. You are now in possession of the Aperture Science handheld portal device. With it, you can create your own portals. These intradimensional gates have proven to be completely safe. The device, however, has not. Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially. Most importantly, under no circumstances should To ensure the safe performance of all authorized activities, do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
I'll break it if I want. I'll break it, mate. I'm making this last way too long. Here we go. This music takes ominous, or maybe myth. I don't like it.
Please proceed to the chamber lock. Mind the gap.
Oh, we have a lot of cameras now, bitch.
For your own safety, do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
Or where? What are you gonna do about it?
Well done. Remember, the Aperture Science Bring Your Daughter to Work Day is the perfect time to have her tested.
For AIDS or IQ or what? Yeah. No, this is the fun shit. Oh, fuck. Let me do this. Shame, won't let me do what I want to do. Oh, fuck it, let's go. I'm just gonna pass about with portals. You get me, bitch? Ugh, fuck. First time using a game, PC gamer, keyboard. Why do you like it? It's like tiny little buttons. It's like that makes me fire lasers. Run away! Run away!
Welcome to Test Chamber 4. You're doing quite well. Certain objects may be vital to your success. Do not destroy testing apparatus.
What you gonna do about it, you old hack? Really?
Once again, excellent work. As part of a required test protocol, we will not monitor the next test chamber. You will be entirely on your own. Good luck.
I think you're bullshitting me. That one, see, I keep pushing the wrong button because of you PC gamers. Stupid PC gamers. Ah well. Every day I'm rolling with the homies. What you gonna do, bitch? First things first, whenever you go to a test chamber on Portal, is destroy all the little weird cameras.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Good. You didn't deserve to have you. That didn't sound sexual. What the fuck? That did not sound sexual. Fucking label this portal demo gone sexual. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Confuse everyone. Just say Portal 2. Not Portal 2.
As part of a required test protocol, our previous statement suggesting that we would not monitor this chamber was an outright fabrication. Good job. As part of a required test protocol, we will stop enhancing the truth in 3, 2. Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
It's not vital, but you're not lying fucking slut. S-L-U-T.
While safety is one of many enrichment center goals, unbelievable, you
Subject name here.
must be the pride of.
Subject hometown here.
I do not give a fuck what you're doing. I'm tired. Okay, I'm very shattered, mate. Shattered. Let's rock and roll.
Warning devices are required on all mobile equipment. However, alarms and flashing hazard lights have been found to agitate the high-energy pellet and have therefore been disabled for your safety. Good. Now use the Aperture Science unstationary scaffold to reach the chamber lock.
There we go, this was early. We got a nice little tilty go. That's how you do. I'm tired because I'm yawning. Yawning for days, bitch.
Please note that we have added a consequence for failure. Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death. Good luck.
Alright, down to me.
Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death. Good luck.
Like that.
Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death. Good luck.
There we are. Special. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. When we jump is when we rock. Ah, la benya. Fucking shattered. But oh well.
very impressive. Please note that any appearance of danger is merely a device to enhance your testing experience.
No, it's not like, it's just like me. I'm gonna die! Oh well, what are you gonna do? Are you coming after me? Row! Shashi. Let's keep on.
The Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. Make no attempt to solve it.
Alright, I'm guessing. No. I'm guessing we can't just freaking do it like that because that would be too easy. So we pop that block there. We come back this way.
The Enrichment Center apologizes for this clearly broken test chamber.
No, I'm gonna need to do this so we can get through it at least. No, we just pick that.
Fantastic. You remain resolute and resourceful in an atmosphere of extreme pessimism.
I used to be a big fan of that's it. That's what my dad's Right, let's rock.
Hello again. To reiterate, previous one. Hold momentum.
There we go, that's better. I'm happy now. Seriously?
Spectacular. You appear to understand how a portal affects forward momentum, or to be more precise, how it does not.
Nah, I just may have played the second one before I played this one. Which you kind of have to do this type of weird stuff.
Momentum, a function of mass and velocity, is conserved between portals. In layman's terms, speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out.
So the first and the second one as well. Yeah, I do not like this weird ominous music. Okay. I'm guessing that's it. I really am guessing that's it. Was direct developers commentary. This could be interesting.
Welcome to...
Game name here.
Hopefully you have already had a chance to enjoy the offbeat perspective and new game mechanic of Portal. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game in order to show something to you. In these cases, simply press your use key again to stop the commentary. Please let me know what you think after you've had a chance to play, as we think we are just at the beginning of taking advantage of this type of gameplay. I can be reached at gayben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
Yeah, I imagined you were gay. You sound it. Does that affect? Probably. Alright then, we've got a couple of things. Alright.
One of the things we learned from Narbacular Drop, our student project that became Portal, was that players often thought portals took them into other spaces, or even other dimensions. To help fight that notion, we start players in a visually unique room with memorable objects, so that when they walk through a portal for the first time, they have a clear point of reference, which communicates the idea that they're still in the same basic location. For instance, the radio, which is playing an instrumental version of Still Alive, helps as well by providing some audio continuity.
Serious injuries may occur. For your own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from turn back. The portal will open in 3, 2, 1.
Yes. Alright, that's nice to know. But yeah, right, let's hit this one then.
It's absolutely critical that players quickly wrap their heads around what a portal is. We noticed early playtesters grasped the concept much more quickly when they caught a glimpse of themselves through a portal. So we deliberately positioned this first portal to ensure that players will invariably see themselves.
She got little stilty things on her feet if you look down there where the main crosshair says. She's got little fucking hoops. That it? Oh no, there's one more. Wait. Oh, I can't destroy that one. I tried it last time. Okay. Right then. Let's use that.
These frosted glass observation rooms make the player feel as if they're being watched at all times, while keeping the identity of these watchers a mystery. The rooms serve a practical purpose as well, since we often use them as convenient and logical light sources for the test chambers.
Again, not disturbing really. It just makes me feel like I'm gonna be killed and raped by Samuel or something.
Portal is effectively an extended player training exercise. We spend a huge portion of the game introducing a series of gameplay tools, then layering those tools into increasingly difficult puzzles. This layering starts here, where we train the button and box mechanic,
Please
before
proceed
introducing
into
the more
chamber
complicated
lock
concept
after
of portals.
completing each test. First, however, note the incandescent particle field across the exit. This Aperture Science Material Emancipation Grill will vaporize any unauthorized equipment that passes through it. For instance, the Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube.
Okay, Valve, for starters, making Steam and Portal, but you should have left the fucking weird voices out of it. It's just irritating. There's another one, yeah.
Please place the weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt Aperture Science Heavy Duty Super Colliding Super Button.
You make things, that was just wasted.
We wanted players to feel safe while standing in a portal, so we never kill them or destroy objects within a portal that's closing. Instead, we either push or teleport objects out of a portal as it closes.
Well, that's almighty nice. There's no pieces. I mean, yeah, attractive rooms. I suppose that's not good for claustrophobia. You should have some top hoops to figure that we might be able to get out if they're lucky.
Perfect.
Oh well.
Please move quickly to the chamber lock, as the effects of prolonged exposure to the button are not part of this test.
We very deliberately introduce and train each gameplay concept in Portal, so that once players reach this spot, We're confident that they know what a portal is and roughly how it works. Early versions of the game let players stumble through the beginning without always understanding what was going on, which really compromised teaching new concepts. The puzzle you just finished was designed so that stumbling around will almost always lead to a dead end. Completing the puzzle requires walking through a minimum of 5 portals in a specific order. This kind of gating, in which a solid understanding of key gameplay concept is required for success, helps standardize the learning curve of the game tremendously.
Well, aren't you clever? That's almighty smart, isn't it? It's almighty smart of you.
You're doing very well. Please be advised that a noticeable taste of blood is not part of any test protocol, but is an unintended side effect of the Aperture Science Material Emancipation Grip, which may, in semi-rare cases, emancipate dental fillings, crowns, tooth enamel, and teeth.
Alright, so I'm just gonna go and press all the little explanation marks like what you can see on your screen here. I might just shut up now because that's what
In early versions of this map, playtesters would charge down the stairs without noticing what was creating the portals. We introduced a mandatory pause in the action, what we call a gate, to help ensure that players stop and notice the portal gun making the blue portal. The particle effect and a loud noise helped draw their attention.
Very good. You are now in possession of the Aperture Science handheld portal device. With it, you can create your own portals. These intradimensional gates have proven to be completely safe. The device, however, has not. Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially. Most importantly, under no circumstances should you... Please proceed to the chamber lock. Mind the gap.
This room was designed to make players understand that entrance and exit portals aren't tied to the color of the portal. Playtesters often assumed that orange portals were exit only, so we created this puzzle to force players to enter an orange portal.
When rendering the player's view through a portal, we must render a separate image using a virtual camera which looks out of the opposite portal. To obtain a correct image and efficient rendering performance, we render only what is visible to the limited field of view of the opposite portal and exclude objects which lie between the virtual camera and the plane of the opposite portal.
Well done. Remember, the Aperture Science Bring Your Daughter to Work Day is the perfect time to have her tested.
The combination of portal-destroying fields, which we call fizzlers, and the elevators, serve a dual purpose. They provide a clearly identifiable endpoint for each test chamber, while also addressing the more practical problem of how to keep players from portaling across level loads. We eventually integrated the fizzlers into several of our puzzle designs.
Okay, but I'm now done, so are you gonna... If I get out of the way of the door, maybe. I'm an Egypt, but... Which can I do? Which can I do? Which can I do?
Welcome to Test Chamber 4. You're doing quite well.
I don't like how you say quite, it's kind of disturbing. Okay, what was that?
For training purposes, there's generally just one correct solution to these early puzzles. The original version of this room didn't have the glass barrier. Playtesters would often stand on the button to open the door and then shoot a blue portal through the opening, bypassing the box entirely. Since this puzzle was meant to illustrate the relationship between boxes and buttons, that solution, while clever, was a failure. So we added the glass barrier to prevent it. Later in the game, however, the puzzles become more open-ended.
Integrating portals with Source Engine's physics system was a complex process that required several iterations to achieve the right balance of performance and correctness. Because portals can be placed virtually anywhere in the game's environment, the physics system had to be modified to allow dynamic changes to its representation of colliding geometry, such as the walls and floor around this box, and any objects which may lie on the opposite side of the portal. Initial implementations of this dynamic collision generation system could take up to 1/2 of 1 second, or 500 milliseconds, to compute the correct collision. This may not sound like a long time in everyday life, but this pause during the portal creation was quite noticeable in the context of a game. Ultimately, we designed a system that creates temporary hybrid physics environments in bubbles around the portals, using less accurate collision than that produced by Source's standard collision generation, but was accurate enough in practice and reduced the time to create dynamic collision representation from 500 milliseconds to just 10 milliseconds, which is an imperceptible pause during portal creation.
Early versions of Portal featured more detailed, cluttered environments, much like Half-Life 2. We quickly realized that unnecessary objects scattered all over the place distracted players to the point where it actually interfered with the Portal training process. So we simplified the art style to favor clean, focused test chambers. The modular approach we settled on makes it look plausible that the chambers can reform dynamically on these pistons.
As part of a required test protocol, our previous statement suggesting that we would not monitor this chamber was an outright fabrication. Good job. As part of a required test protocol, we will stop enhancing the truth in 3, 2, While safety is one of many Enrichment Center goals, the Aperture Science high-energy pellet seen to the left of the chamber can and has caused permanent disabilities such as vaporization. Please be careful.
To make puzzles deeper than just teleporting to the exit, we had to include surfaces that won't hold a portal, which are formally introduced here. We experimented with several surface designs before we settled on this one, whose visual noise and reflectivity make it easy to identify at a distance.
Unbelievable. You
Subject name here.
must be the pride of.
Subject hometown here.
Warning devices are required on all mobile equipment. However, alarms and flashing hazard lights have been found to agitate a high-energy pellet and have therefore been disabled for your safety.
Originally, these scaffolds ran on electrified tracks, but crafty playtesters would hop along the rails to the exit, bypassing the puzzle entirely. We tried to solve this by killing players as soon as they touched the rails.
Good.
That solution
Now
ended
use
up
the
being
aperture
too much of an
science
overcorrection,
unstationary
as even skilled
scaffold to
playtesters
reach
were
the
getting
chamber
frustrated
lock.
by these one-hit kills in the more complex puzzles later in the game. Making the scaffolds run along immaterial beams of light solved both problems. Originally, these scaffolds ran on electrified tracks, but crafty playtesters would hop along the rails to the exit, bypassing the puzzle entirely. We tried to solve this by killing players as soon as they touched the rails. That solution ended up being too much of an overcorrection, as even skilled playtesters were getting frustrated by these one-hit kills in the more complex puzzles later in the game. Making the scaffolds run along immaterial beams of light solved both problems.
I'm sorry, I was not meant to play that, double play that one. What's next?
Please note that we have added a consequence for failure. Any contact with the chamber floor will result
Even though
in
layering
an
player training was a
unsatisfactory
design
mark
goal
on
from
your
the
official
start, we
testing
still ended up
report,
introducing some
followed by
concepts
a
too quickly.
good luck.
For instance, this used to be the first energy ball redirection puzzle. Playtesting revealed that this puzzle introduced too many new concepts at once, which ended up frustrating a lot of playtesters. In response, we inserted 2 test chambers before this one to make the energy ball redirection training more gradual.
We previously talked about how we handle static portal collision, but collision with moving objects on the other side of a portal is a completely different and equally hard problem. Walking onto this scaffold was a very iffy proposition for the first few months of
Very
development.
impressive.
We
Please
solved the
note
problem
that
of colliding with
any
these dynamic
appearance
objects
of
by
failure
cloning
device
the
to
objects
enhance
from
your
one
testing
portal to the other and
experience.
strictly controlling what objects are allowed to collide with each other and how they're allowed to collide.
So agree with me.
The Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. Make no attempt to solve it.
Because our test chamber environments were simplified for training purposes, we created visual hotspots within the rooms to guide players. Because our test chamber environments were simplified for training purposes, we created visual hotspots within the rooms to guide players' attention. The design is essentially a balance between round objects and sharp objects. The sharp objects representing background elements, and the round objects, such as doors and movable props, comprising our points of visual interest.
Once again, the Enrichment Center offers its most sincere
For the first few months of development, we rendered the views through portals to two off-screen textures. This approach was easy to implement and was compatible with a wide range of graphics hardware. For the first few months of development, we rendered the views
Frankly, this chamber was a mistake. If we were you, we would quit now. Noah, fantastic. You remained resolute and resourceful in an atmosphere of extreme pessimism. Hello again. To reiterate, previous one.
Portal momentum ended up being the hardest concept to convey. For this series of puzzles, which went through more design iterations than virtually any other part of the game, we introduced the idea of redirecting your momentum using portals, slowly, step by step. We even have the AI voice pretty explicitly explain the elements of the puzzle, something we avoided throughout most of the rest of the game.
Spectacular. You appear to understand how a portal affects forward momentum, or to be more precise, how it does not.
Originally, these exit portal surfaces were static geometry in the final position, but playtesters stubbornly refused to look up to find them. This is another example of the classic game design problem of coaxing players to look up. By putting the portals on moving pistons, we were able to start them in a position that players were more likely to see. Originally,